Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined alongside Jack Weinberger and Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia for a Week 10 NFL reaction show. It's pretty funny. So yesterday, we had a pretty hectic travel day. Jack was at the Virginia Tech game this weekend. I was at the Notre Dame game this weekend. Ziggy, were you traveling?
Yeah, I was traveling.
Where were you?
I was in the Shenandoah Valley.
I passed right through that.
Yeah. Jack, we might have driven by each other.
Yeah, there's a very good chance.
Can you imagine you
There's
guys
a very good
driving
chance
by,
we did. It's
and
like,
you just see Ziggy sticking out the
Ziggy,
window.
hey.
Ziggy, hey, Jack.
Yeah, I passed right along the Shenandoah Valley.
So we had a pretty chaotic travel day.
Where's that?
It's really
Winchester?
funny.
Winchester, Virginia, right?
I don't know. I have no idea. But I text Ziggy and I just said, like, hey, Ziggy, would you mind? I'm driving the car. So at a rest stop, I'm like, hey, Ziggy, would you mind throwing out just a little message to everyone that we're going to be missing the show today? And Ziggy's, did you see Ziggy's
Yes, I
post?
saw that. I'm like, what the heck is this?
Unexpected circumstances or whatever. I was like,
It was unexpected. I didn't realize. Like, I was
for your
back for the
support.
show. I didn't realize you guys weren't going to be there. It was unexpected.
I thought that this has been on the calendar for months. It was like, this was the weekend that we were all going on our games, and Ziggy's like, due to unforeseen circumstances.
Thanks for your support. Yes, we're all okay, so don't worry,
So-
we're all good.
So it was
Are
good.
we all okay?
It was great in
I'm
the
pretty
comment
tired.
section. People were like, you guys okay? And we're like, no, we're fine. We're fine. Like this was actually maybe planned to everyone except for Ziggy.
We were just okay, man. That was great. I was chugging Borg bottles. I was hanging out with
You had a
college
great-
girls.
you
It
had a
was a
great-
fantastic time.
It was a fun weekend, and this is the time of year people ask us a lot whether or not we cover college football, and this is kind of the time of the year where we'll start to introduce a little college football into the show because
We've never done that on this show before.
we've talked college
I
football.
think we talked some college around the playoff time.
Like when it's playoff time, we get excited. Last year we had the whole remember Jack's FSU rant? He was so mad about FSU and
what is there? 2 weeks
Yeah, that
left.
was one of the worst segments in the history of the show.
Oh,
Well, a lot of people
not
agreed with me.
Not true. That was a great little clip we got out of that, and I forgot that was just last year. The whole Florida State debacle.
That clip blew up.
Yeah, I think you're dead wrong, but it still blew up.
I think I was dead right.
I can't wait. So we actually booked, me and my buddies, ND buddies. We booked I guess Ziggy and our ND buddies. I should just say me, but we all booked an Airbnb in South Bend right after the Texas A&M game.
We did?
We did. Maybe Ziggy was not made aware. Well, actually, I guess like a few people spearheaded it. But yeah, we have an Airbnb, Ziggy, in South Bend that we booked after the A&M game because you don't expect losses to teams like NIU. And I'm not quite sure I've come around on the you lose to NIU, you just should be eliminated from the playoffs immediately. But since we're number 8 in the country in the AP poll right now, I'm willing to forget the NIU game happened. But I'm all in on like hosting a playoff game. I think that'd be so cool.
Oh, that'd be a
The
blast.
first ever playoff games, but I'm just waiting. I'm seeing Alabama like hovering there. Like we're definitely gonna somehow draw Bama. If we get in, we're gonna draw Bama. It's just gonna be a bloodbath.
Milroe's like 7 rushing touchdowns.
Oh,
in that game.
you can see how that
Yeah,
game goes,
yeah.
right?
That would be a blowout.
Yeah. Ziggy, would you go to that game at Notre Dame?
Oh, absolutely.
Have to, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ziggy,
Yeah.
I take the train if I have to.
I can't believe, Ziggy, that you're in Charlottesville. I was in Blacksburg and you didn't come to see me.
Jack, I don't own a car.
Well, you can Uber. I would have split it for you.
How long is that Uber?
Probably about, what, an hour, 2 hours?
2 hours, no chance.
You guys should have met for lunch. Ubered in between.
Yeah, we're in between, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
Ziggy.
so.
Well, you got
But
drag Ziggy out of the
Maybe
club.
I get enough Jack on this show during our 3 hours recording. I'm not sure how much more I could take.
After UVA beat
Were you
Pitt.
too busy clubbing Ziggy Saturday
You
night?
got Paul Ziggy out of the club.
Well, I mean, UVA won, right? So
That's
I
what
was
I'm saying.
losing my mind, and I knew Virginia Tech was going to lose, and lose painfully. So I didn't.
They were
wanna
winning at the
be
half. They were
Jason
winning at the half.
So just a bender down at
Yeah.
Virginia.
Oh yeah,
He continued the Halloween weekend bender right
Hey,
into a UVA win.
UVA plays Vata a couple weeks.
UVA plays Notre Dame this week.
we ain't
That's
talking
right.
about football anytime soon.
We are talking about
We're
football.
not talking football, man. We're just a little college football. Yeah, we'll see. If people are enjoying college football, if you want some college football segments at the end of these shows, let us know. And maybe we'll throw in a few. We love doing the hypothetical. Well, Ziggy hates it, but me and Jack love doing these hypotheticals where we walk through scenarios for how teams are going to get into the playoff. Like we did it the other day in my basement for like half an hour, just trying to figure out a path to Notre Dame hosting a playoff game. So let us know if you want some college football, we can work that in. If you're enjoying the show, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're almost there at 15,000. It was a bad time for us to take a little break from the show when we're so close to the goal.
It was a bad time for the Packers to take a break.
Yeah, it was a bad time. But you know what? You need a break sometimes. You need to be rejuvenated. And here we are right back in action. If If you want to become a member, you could go to our channel homepage, select join to become a member to the show. You could still participate in the Pick'em Challenge, which we'll probably have on week 12 and 16 for prizes. If people who are winning, please message us. Like we're trying to give out free stuff, but no one's claiming it. So
I left my pair of my glasses in Virginia this weekend.
really,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate.
Oh, we'll get them for you.
So I don't have them today. Yeah, can you pick them up,
Yeah,
Ziggy?
maybe Ziggy can Uber over.
I think they're in some girl's dorm.
Oh, jeez. Jeez. All right. And,
Let's move on.
Of course, if you can't watch on YouTube, you can always listen on audio wherever you get your podcasts. Check out the merch store in the description as well. Oh, jeez. All right. So the Week 10 reaction show here, guys. We're going to go through a bunch of the games that we were unable to get to yesterday. Ziggy, in my time as a sentient human being, I would say that there are 2, maybe 3 Vikings runs where I really thought we had a chance at the 1 seed. And being a Super Bowl team, it was 2009 with Favre, the Case Keenum year in 2017. And I think I have to throw in the 2022 Kirk Cousins team. 13-4 is that's a good enough record where we were contending for the 1 seed for most of the year. But every single year that happened, there was just one team that was a pain in the ass. Like I couldn't get them to lose a game. No matter what I did, I couldn't get them to lose a game. It was, and Ziggy's like,
what do you mean whatever you did?
We know where this is going.
Any hope, like any hopes that I had. There's nothing there's no way, nothing anyone could do to get them to lose. It was the Saints in 2009. It was the Eagles the other 2 years.
This is the Lions.
Even in games when they were trailing though, like trailing, not playing well, they found ways to win. And that's exactly how I'm starting to feel with the Detroit Lions this season. 7-2 Vikings team. I'm looking at the Lions. I'm going, they just can't lose. Even when they throw 5 interceptions, even when they're down double digits at halftime, they just won't lose. And they're down 23-7 last night. I'm in the middle of, the middle of Pennsylvania. There's nothing's going on here. I'm just looking at a phone that has a score. And I'm super pumped up. Like after the Vikings' ugly win, we're going to tie Detroit for the division lead. They have some tougher games at the end of the year. I'm all jacked up. And then I just I refresh every 15 minutes and I see 23-13, 23-20, 23-23. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I actually got reception to see the final kick go in by literally like a hair. And I just go in the end. I mean, maybe it's just these guys' seasons, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was somewhere in the middle of Pennsylvania too around that time yesterday. And the first time I'm going to go, the Saturday night game's on. So I did check my phone on the FanDuel app, and I saw it was 23-7 at the break. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Houston's back.
Yeah, I'm like, Houston's back. I guess I was wrong about my Detroit being unbeatable take. And then about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I reassured myself that, Detroit's unbeatable. I saw Goff through, what do you do? I mean, to beat him, what do you need? 6 picks from Jared Goff? He throws 5 picks. They win a game on the road in a game they were down by 16. But Jared Goff said it best. He said, every single team this season, at some point, you're going to get hit in the mouth. The good teams, the teams who can win a Super Bowl, will come back and respond. And they responded.
I mean, I knew the Lions were going to win the whole time. Jared Goff is 7-0 in games where he throws 4 more interceptions.
That can't be
once
real.
he threw
Is
that
a
fourth,
real
it was
stat?
only a matter of time.
Is that a real
Are you
stat?
serious?
That's 100% serious. He is 7-0 in games where he's thrown 4 more interceptions.
That's absurd. That has to be one of the craziest stats.
If you told
Ever.
me Goff was going to throw 5 picks in Houston this weekend, I would have told you it was 36-7.
I mean, it was
undefeated.
It was
No,
23-7.
but final. I would have been 38-7. Final.
But I think this is, something I talk about a lot on this show is that I think people overrate how important sacks are and overrate how important interceptions are and underrate how important sacks are. And I think tonight that was on display. Or not tonight when the game happened, which was a couple of days ago. Jared Goff, did he throw 5 interceptions? Yes. Is that bad football? Yes. But Jared Goff has a unique superpower in that the man refuses to take sacks. Somehow he didn't take a single sack that game. And when you look at CJ Stroud, who took 4 sacks for a little over 40 yards, and you compare, you can run the math and see how much CJ Stroud's sacks affected versus Goff's interceptions, they came out pretty close to the same. Right? If you're taking a sack on 3rd down or a long sack on 2nd down, that's basically no different in terms of game outcome from throwing an interception.
I mean, I think that's a cute little description, but an interception has to.
That's just true. The Lions defense did their job.
The Lions defense was great in the second half.
Well, how many times did they pick off Stroud?
Well, I
Like
thought that
So the 2 Stroud interceptions plus his 4 sacks were about equal to Goff's 5 interceptions.
Well, I thought that the second Stroud interception, because the first one, I believe Goff immediately threw another one back. But there was a little stretch where they were just turning it over back and forth. But the second Stroud interception, the one they were on, I believe, the Detroit 30, and it was just a horrendous throw into the end zone. That was the one. It was 23-13 at the time. And Houston had a chance to put some more points on. If you go up 30-13, if you score a touchdown there, like I just can't see Detroit. I know grit's the word everyone's using, but that was the knockout punch to me. Middle of the third quarter, you can go up 3 scores, respond to their touchdown. That was the one where that gave them life, or that really gave them life. And you can talk about luck. Like I'm sure a lot of NFC North fans are going like, oh, Bates' kicks just snuck in. I'm kind of doing that, but if you go back and really rewatch the game, Detroit was playing quite poorly, but then they turned on the switch, and it wasn't even like, something miraculous happened for them to win the game. They just wound up out executing them throughout most of the second half, shut down Houston, and they made their kick. Houston did.
Well, it was funny. I went back to listen to the halftime interview with Dan Campbell when they were down by 16, and he was just so calm and knew they were going to come back. He's like, yeah, we're fine. Our adjustments will be made. This is going to be a close game. I mean, he knew it.
Well, usually when you throw 5 interceptions or 4 interceptions, whatever it was at the time, you're down a lot more than just 16 points. Mm-hmm. And once they were able to, I believe Stroud threw a pick on the first play of the second half. So they were always in a position to come back there. And it really, the ground game got going with Montgomery and Gibbs. And once that happens, we've all said it before, you shut those guys down, it becomes a lot easier to slow down the Lions. It's just hard to do that. And in the second half, when they got going, they were really what powered Detroit. Them, the defense. It was exactly Detroit's identity: ground and pound and tough defense. So, I was really disappointed though. I thought for sure at 23-7.
I'm back to saying they're unbeatable. I think they're unbeatable.
Oh, this is the kind of game where
they don't lose this. Maybe they are.
I think they're unbeatable.
They've won 7 straight games now. They're the first team since 1970 to win a game after trailing by 15 plus and being responsible for 5 turnovers or 5 interceptions. 8-1 on the year.
Impossible.
Best start since 1954. It's it's brutal. Second half, they really were. You have Joe Mixon fancy. You've seen how good he is this year.
Yeah, well, I was
25 carries, 46 yards.
I was getting this constant red zone updates on the fantasy apps, like Mixon's in the red zone, Mixon's scored a touchdown. Oh, this guy's going nuts.
Yeah, then you go back and look. Maybe not.
Yeah, but no, I was at a loss for words when I saw the kick go through the goalpost.
Ziggy, were you watching the game live?
Yeah, I watched most of that game live. I tuned in. Once I saw the Lions were getting their butts kicked, I thought, I have to watch this. So maybe I was the problem.
Well, Jack, it's funny. You said, you said it, what Jared Goff's response to how the good teams come back. Dan Campbell sort of said something similar. He said, when it's not your day, you could still win. That's a sign of a good team. And Detroit, unfortunately, is kind of turning into that team. They just have this feeling. And when we've said it multiple times on the show, they just find ways to win. They found a way to beat the Vikings. They found a way to beat the Rams when it didn't look promising at one point late in the game. They do it again against Houston. The next few games they have are pretty easy. Like, I can't see Detroit. I can't see them losing more than like 3 games this year. Like three seems like the max at this point. So
how could you say?
But again, you're still Detroit. You're still Detroit, and I know people don't want to hear that.
I know. Right now, there's blue skies in Detroit.
But you know what? To be fair, when Dan Campbell says it's not your day, you could still win. That's a sign of a good team, and we all take it to heart with the Lions. We also must take it to heart when Kevin O'Connell says it about the Minnesota Vikings. I don't understand. I'm seeing in the comments section, just from our community page, everyone's getting on me and the Vikings for being 12-7, or having a 12-7 win over the Jaguars. But you go back and watch that game. Ziggy, let me ask you something.
Talk about grit. Talk about
perseverance. What do you think the score would be from a game with these stats, guys? Total plays, Vikings 82, Jaguars 43. Time of possession, 42 minutes, 19 seconds for the Vikings, 17 minutes, 41 for Jacksonville. That was the largest disparity in time of possession on the season in a football game. First downs, Vikings 28, Jaguars 10. Total yards, Vikings 402, 143. Wouldn't you think that the score of that game is like 45-6?
It's what I'm hearing is like
you're ignoring the only thing that matters.
So what I'm hearing is you're bad. That should be a blowout.
Here's the question I'd ask. What were the 3 most impactful plays? Oh, Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson interception. Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson interception. And Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson interception.
You're a Viking fan. What are you doing?
Wait, he threw 3 picks?
Yeah.
Yeah, he threw 3 picks.
No, that's what happened, Jack. That's why we weren't. That's why the
Vikings won 12-7.
The Vikings were in the red zone 5 times. They threw 2 interceptions, had 3 field goals. He threw another pick. Like, it's the whole first half.
Oh, so I'm hearing is you're just bad.
No, what we're hearing is so the Lions do it, and everyone's on their ass saying how great this team is. Everyone's kissing up to them.
You pulled a.
Well, hold on. These are 2 different teams, Paul. Right? One of those is the Houston Texans with C.J. Stroud, and I get that they had a lot of injuries, but that Texans team is not bad. The other is the Jacksonville Jaguars with the worst pass defense in the league and an offense that can't do anything.
That's funny. That Texans team, I remember when they were healthier, the Vikings kicked their ass. Well,
that's back when you were good.
We can play tit for tat games.
You've been on a tailspin.
In the NFL, it's hard to win football games. At the end of the day, they're professionals. I don't care how many guys are sitting out for the Jaguars. Like, you sometimes you just make mistakes. And Sam Darnold didn't have a great game, but the Vikings dominated. The time possession was the biggest difference all year. Like, we had drives of 12 plays, 17 plays, 14, and 16 combined for 9 points. That has to change.
It sounds like the Steelers got into the red zone and just not
little
scoring.
bit. I mean, Jack, we had a 17-play, 76-yard drive that took over 10 minutes off the clock.
With no points.
And an interception.
Yeah.
But when you're able to win those games, it's awesome because you have to get better moving forward, but you're able to survive the ones you shouldn't win.
I mean, you're right that I would rather win than lose, but when you're playing Mac Jones heading up the Jaguars, I do expect to win. Here's my worry about this game, and I think why I'm not super happy about it. What did we say? We said that Sam Darnold's starting to have turnover problems. The Vikings offense having a hard time getting into the end zone.
Oh, yeah.
Against the putrid Jaguars defense, this is the time to turn it around. And the Vikings have a lot of tough football games left. Like, hooray, the Bears suck now. Hooray, the Titans are bad.
What do you mean
We've got
now?
some tough games for the rest of the season. I worry the fact if Sam Darnold is going to have a bad game against the Jacksonville Jaguars and one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL, it's hard for me to get super excited about a 12-7 win. I'll be honest.
I feel like everybody has those types of games, though. Like it's one thing if Minnesota was just stalling and like not able to be able to freaking move down the field. But the fact they got to the red zone a million times and just stalled there.
No. I mean, look,
you got to clean that up.
To be fair, like the red flag, Ziggy's right. The red flags are all over the place right now. Like they're all over the place.
Yeah, it's worse if they weren't even able to move up the field.
Yeah, no.
At least they got up there and then.
Yeah, but it would have been worse if they lost. It would have been worse if they had 50 total yards of offense. Like, you're right, but that's not the question.
No, that's what we're saying, though.
The issues that have been issues, not being able to finish drives with touchdowns, Darnold being a little bit more reckless and just worse overall. Like, those are still problems that you saw this week. On the other hand, though, the past 2 weeks, the defense has been awesome. Now, can the defense be good against the better teams in the league? We'll see. Like, there are concerns all over the Vikings team, but the whole point is, yes, it can always be worse. When you win some of those signs, it can be ignored, but it has to get cleaned up going forward because at 7-2, like, I mean, you guys are 7-2. Like, when you're 7-2, you're in it.
There's a difference. We're good. You guys stink.
I don't care. I don't care what you look like. When you're 7-2, you're in the running. And that means everything needs to get cleaned up. But surviving this game was fine. I mean, it was a horrible game to watch.
I was in the middle of like West Virginia during this game or something like that. And I was looking at my FanDuel account or FanDuel, the scores on FanDuel. And I see it was like 7-6 Jacksonville or something like that, or 7-3. I'm like, oh, this team
I'm telling you, I understand.
I didn't even know Mac Jones was starting.
I know.
I thought it was Trevor Lawrence.
I understand. And we got the text from Ziggy too. We got the Ziggy text. I was like, told you so in the middle of the third quarter.
I'm sticking with it. I told you.
I think I know the Vikings just as well as anyone can know a team because I'm driving and I had the game streaming. Someone else was driving the car and I'm watching. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, it's 7-3 at the time, whatever it was, and we're moving the ball again. And in my head, I go, the games that we lose, a turnover comes right about here. We just crossed like the 40, the Jacksonville 40. It's like this is usually where there's a turnover. 2 plays later, Darnold throws a pick. I was like, yep, there it is. Like every single thing, I'm like, this is the kind of game where Aaron Jones would probably get Aaron Jones injured. Like everything that could go bad. You can see it happening before it if you watch the Vikings enough. That's why I'm telling you, like, I know what's going on with this team. And to just be able to win the game, though, and get to 7-2, I was relieved. I'm willing to hope it gets better.
Well, Paul, I'm a relatively new Vikings fan, I'll admit it. But I remember the last time the Vikings were 7-2 or better, competing for the 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, I know.
Playing a lot of football, some close games where you thought, oh, there's some red flags, but I'm sure they'll clean it up eventually. And I remember how that season ended.
Yeah, but the defense
losing to the Giants at home in the playoffs.
That was the year with the Ed Donatel defense when he dropped, what was it, like the Joseph A. Banks line? He goes like, you're going to like the way the defense looks this season. I guarantee it. And they got lit up by Daniel Jones. I mean, we said it. They gave Daniel Jones the contract. This defense is way better. It's a much better
but also we didn't have a quarterback that would throw 3 interceptions in a game either.
No, we didn't.
I remember watching that game. That was absurd.
Well, I was there. That was the most open I've ever seen.
That was like
in
Tom.
any level of football.
He was like Tom Brady in that game.
Yeah, you would have been Tom Brady.
I would have been wide. Yeah, I would have been wide open.
I had video from the first play, crowd going crazy, and if you just watch the routes, you're like, oh wow, 4 people are
just wide open.
Where are our defenders? You just couldn't see anyone. It was it wasn't a great Viking game by any means this weekend, but to escape with the win against the Jaguars.
Oh well, yeah, to finish what they were 1 for 5 in the red zone or something like that.
Yeah, you have
like
those
0
games.
for 5.
Like you like
0 for 5. Sorry,
but I mean, you'd like to imagine that's not an every week. Like that's not going to happen again.
That has been happening though with the no touchdowns. It hasn't always been interceptions, but it's been a lot of field goals.
That's Steeler football.
Yeah, that's how you lose. I mean, that's frankly how you lose any game. You can't convert touchdowns, so that needs to change. But it was entertaining. I mean, it was a brutal game to watch, but it was entertaining at the end, and it ended with Jacksonville turning the ball over 3 straight times to end the game. And so the defense stepped up. I'd love to see them do it when we play a good team, which we haven't seen over the past couple of weeks with the Rams and the Lions offenses. But I think this was good to get back on and stay on the winning track because the season was on the verge if we had lost a couple of these after the 2 losses in a row.
To the Jags and Mac Jones. That would have been so bad.
Yeah. Well, the Flacco and the Colts and Mac Jones and the Jaguars.
Flacco that wasn't much in doubt ever for me that game, but this game was wire to wire.
Jack, the amount of Steelers fans in Washington was just crazy.
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not. Well, actually, no. I was surprised how bad.
It's only about a 4-hour trip.
I was surprised how bad it was.
Did you hear the "Here we go" Steel on TV?
No, it looked like a Steelers. If you haven't seen it, go and just watch the highlights from Steelers Commanders. It looks like a Steelers home game.
Yeah.
Didn't they handed out towels, right? Commanders?
They handed out maroon towels to try to mask the terrible towels, but didn't even come close. I was all over Twitter, and like everybody who was there was saying how this is like so embarrassing. It's one of our biggest home games in a while, and it's all Steeler fans here.
Well, no, that's just how the team is. So, so this Steelers game in particular, you had them winning, and you had them winning a blowout.
I had them winning pretty big, yeah.
But when you were watching this, I just want to ask you straight up: does this team feel different to you? Because the Steelers, we've said on the show a lot, kind of give off the vibe of just always getting to the playoffs and then getting murked by like Buffalo or someone in the first round. Does this team? Are you starting to see a different outcome as a possibility?
Yeah, no, I seriously am. Like, I believe this is a top 3 team in the AFC.
Like, oh, okay. I thought you were going to say...
No, not in football. But a top 3 team in the AFC.
Behind Baltimore and...
No, behind the Chiefs and the Bills. I think we're better than Baltimore. And we'll prove that this upcoming week when we play them. There's a different feel with Danger Russ, with Mr. Unlimited here at the QB position. Scoring 4 touchdowns on the road. Game-winning drive. He's now 3-0. We're putting up points. Beat the Wonder Boy here in Jayden Daniels. I mean, this is a good win, and not a win that we've seen in a while. Like, the Steelers winning a 28-27 type game as opposed to, like, 13-6. We haven't seen that since Ben Roethlisberger. I like the Mike Williams addition, making an immediate impact. George Pickens is playing a lot better since Russ took over. There is a bit of a different feel, and I think part of that is Russ being a Super Bowl champ, someone who's been there before, someone who can play the game. Then I'm excited. I think that this is a team capable of winning the division, getting a top 3 seed, and at that point, you never know. But like if this team went to Buffalo, right, like in the playoffs, I don't think they'd get murdered. Whereas last season, you knew.
I've been hard on the Steelers team. I've been about as hard on them as anybody, and I'm still not convinced. The thing that impressed me most was not Russell Wilson completing half of his passes. It wasn't George Pickens either, though George Pickens has a unique ability to make like the most incredible catch you've ever seen, and then like completely take the next play off and just completely blow it.
I saw that.
There are not a lot of guys like that in
I
the
saw
NFL.
someone
He's the
say-
new Odell. But the thing that impressed me most about the Steelers this game was their pass defense. This Commanders offense and Jayden Daniels has been explosive, right? I mean, they've been explosive on the ground. They've been explosive in the air. He's been able to scramble. He's been able to get Terry McLaurin huge completions. And other than that, like 50-yard completion to Terry McLaurin, which was a big gain. Otherwise, the passing offense didn't do a whole lot. And it's not enough, right? In the NFL, like you need a good offense. But if you want to play a game where you've got a decent offense and elite defense, you have to be able to shut off explosive plays from big quarterbacks who can run the ball, right? If they want to go and beat Buffalo in the playoffs like we're talking about, you have to be able to slow down Josh Allen and the Bills. And I think this game against Washington, they showed that they can face a hot offense with a good quarterback and take away the explosive plays, force them to play the game that Pittsburgh wants them to play. Commanders ran the ball fine, but that ended up not being enough. So I think this game gives me, I'm still not sold on this team. I'm still not sold on Russell Wilson or the offense, but the defense doing what they did to the Commanders has to have you excited.
I love Russ.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ziggy. I'm not totally sold on the offense right now, but I do think that you had it right when you said that Steelers getting teams to play their brand of football is the difference in like how they would fare in a playoff matchup. Where if you go into Buffalo and it turns into a shootout and the defense like can't get things under control, you're screwed. But if you get like no team in the NFL knows their identity as well as the Steelers. It's running game, it's defense, it's making big plays out of thin air. Like with Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky, even Justin Fields, it always kind of felt like the offense felt a little immature to me. You never really believed in it. And with Russell Wilson, I don't think that he's taken them to another level, so to say, but it feels more buttoned up.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
If we're down 27-21 on the road, I don't believe Mason Rudolph or Mitch Trubisky goes and wins that game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I don't think he drops in a dime to Mike Williams in the end zone to win the game in the final minute.
Yeah, Russ is not the player that he used to be, but he's got a better arm than all of those guys. He doesn't make many mistakes, and it's just again, you don't want to get too into like how it feels, but when you watch them, there is a different feel when he's under center. It is a little bit more command to the offense, and you have more faith in them to execute the game plan. And Fields is a little erratic. He's fun to watch, and he did have the game-winning, or should have been game-winning drive against the Cowboys, but there are more mistakes that come with him. And with Wilson, like in the fourth quarter of this game, he really led him on 2 drives to take the lead because Jaylen Warren fumbled on the 1-yard line. I thought he was awesome in that fourth quarter, and then, of course, getting him to jump off sides. Like, there's just that savvy vet feel to Russ right now where I don't think he's going to light anyone up for 35, 42 points a game, but he's going to keep things under control and have you in a position because that defense is good enough to hold anyone to 20 or less points or under 30. And at that point, I do think the Steelers can contend. So I've almost been turned. I actually think I have been turned that I don't think they're I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I'm no longer going to sit here and say they'll go to Buffalo and lose by 30 points.
The remaining few haven't been turned yet. Will be turned when we beat Baltimore on Sunday.
See, I'll probably turn right back when Baltimore wins like 45-3 and Russ has 6 interceptions.
Are you kidding? Steelers Ravens 45-3. It's the most insane thing I've ever heard. Ziggy knows.
I was watching
Baltimore,
I was
Pittsburgh.
rewatching the game this morning, and I know that you're the feel guy. Ziggy's the numbers guy. Just like so, this just feels more. It feels more professional in Pittsburgh with the quarterback under center like Russ.
Yeah,
Didn't expect it.
This was also, Ziggy, as you were saying, that to me, this was the kind of welcome to the pros game for Jayden Daniels. And I mean, he was decent. Like, I didn't think they'd put up 27 points, but I thought our defense with controlling him and what that offense can do with him under center did a very good job for the most part. I mean, 2 of their touchdowns were Eckler, I believe.
It was 24-14 at halftime.
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
When I saw that score, I was thinking to myself, okay, like they're going to run him out of the building.
Yeah, no, same. But then we scored. It was 24-21.
Yep, he kept it in.
Yeah.
He had some great responses. And yeah, like those last few drives from Russ and the defense stepped up.
No, it's happening.
Great fourth quarter.
I think we're a contender. I really do. They're number 2 in my power rankings.
This is when we'll all probably go to shit. The moment that like me and you are like, yeah, like, or the moment that I turn is the moment that you'll.
I've always been on.
Yeah, Ziggy doesn't quite look like he's there. But
I'm just not. I'm not convinced that Russell Wilson's the guy.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, the offense. Sorry, I'll clarify. I think that they're good enough to not get blown out in a playoff game. I still don't really believe.
Oh, I mean,
in
if that's
offense.
the standard, they can play a playoff game with 2 scores.
Do you
yeah,
think?
sure.
Do you think we're that much worse than the Chiefs?
Yes.
But like, why?
Patrick Mahomes.
Like the Chiefs are barely winning games.
Yeah. But
like when we win games, like because we're not supposed to.
It's not because I've seen more from them this year. It's because I'm deferring to the greatest quarterback in NFL history.
And just what they've done in prior years.
Yeah,
because this season,
you know that.
But this season, I don't think they're that much better than we are.
Has Patrick Mahomes forgotten how to throw a football?
It seems like he has.
If you think the answer is yes, then fair enough.
They almost lost to the Broncos.
Dude, I'll tell
we
you,
murdered.
Seems good.
We murdered
you were on
the
them
Broncos.
Before. You should have stayed on the Broncos.
I never left the Broncos.
You should have stayed on them.
Yeah, I did leave them.
When they
I'm sorry, Jay.
Go ahead, Ziggy.
Can you repeat what you said about the Steelers and the Broncos?
I said we murdered the Broncos, and it took a blocked game-winning field goal for the Chiefs to beat the Broncos.
You beat the Broncos by 1 score.
You didn't watch the game, I guarantee that.
Oh, jeez.
Bo Nix threw 2 interceptions. They squeaked it out.
We
You beat
destroyed
the Broncos by 1 score.
You didn't watch any of that game. I watched the whole game.
I watched that game.
We kicked their ass.
I was thinking about this, guys. This wasn't really part of our show, but I was just thinking to myself, the happiness that Chiefs fans are experiencing right now is unfathomable to me as a sports fan.
They can't keep getting away with this.
Yeah, like I'm so incredibly jealous
No, they
of this
won't.
franchise.
Like they're
now.
not very good. I'm telling you.
No. But Jack, think about it. They are back-to-back Super Bowl champions who are 9-0, winning games miraculously. Like it does not get better than this as a sports fan. I don't think it's possible to get better. Like this is the peak that any fan could ever experience. To me, it's like I really just can't picture that joy because anytime I've been trained. Anytime I'm close to being happy, it's a shit show immediately. 27-yard field goal miss. Third kicker hasn't missed in 2 years. He misses. The interception from Favre. Like I'm sports misery. But these Chiefs fans, I mean, every game I'm going through their schedule. I'm like Ravens, toes out of bounds, they win. Bengals pass interference, they win. Falcons pass interference, they win. Buccaneers overtime win. Broncos block kick. What an unbelievably fortunate.
But do you see why I'm saying I think we're just as good as they are?
I see what you're saying.
I think we're just as good as they are. Like when we play them in a playoff game, it's wire to wire.
No, but see the thing is, you guys rely on
and they
like,
might have some lucky
mistakes.
crap to win.
But yeah, they'll still beat you. Like they'll still beat you.
Yeah, but it's not 42-14 like it was 3 years ago.
I agree. Is that not exactly what my take was? The Steelers.
No, I think we could beat them.
Yeah. You're a Steeler fan.
No, I'm not just saying that though. But we lost to Dallas. I jumped ship for a
when the
brief time.
Steelers go into Arrowhead Stadium in the divisional round of the playoffs, you can't seriously look me in the eye and say we're going to win this football game.
It'll be a championship game.
Sorry, championship game doesn't matter.
I'll look you in the eye and say this game will be a 3-point game with 4 minutes left.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see if you guys win the first round. But if you win the first round, then we'll get there. But Ziggy, I mean, as a newfound Viking fan, I'm so sorry I didn't just tell you to go to the Chiefs when the iron was
I wouldn't
hot.
want to. That's not the point.
We've seen this.
The point of watching football is not to be happy, Paul. You know that.
Yeah, I do know.
We've seen this, though. Like, this Chiefs season is what the Steelers did. They were 11-0, but looking shitty.
But they weren't back-to-back Super Bowl champions with the best quarterback ever.
We had one of the best quarterbacks ever.
Yeah, he was very old.
Not at that point.
I think he still was.
Remember last year, Jack, we were watching the Chiefs because I was saying this team sucks. Like this offense is horrible. And then the playoffs, there's Travis Kelce. Game-winning opportunity. Oh, here's Patrick Mahomes.
You know what the thing is? What they do is they barely win games, squeak it out, look like crap. But since they barely win all these games, they get the 1 seed and they're at home in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they don't because they're the 1 seed in the playoffs.
That's why I think they win.
Patrick Mahomes.
I think it's a stroke of luck.
Didn't they last year go on the road every week? They won in Baltimore. Didn't they win in Buffalo?
No, their only road win was in Baltimore.
Didn't they win in Buffalo?
So they beat Baltimore.
Yes, that's impressive.
I thought they won in Buffalo. No, they did win in Buffalo.
They didn't win in Buffalo.
Right? I'm pretty sure they won in Buffalo.
Yeah, they won in Buffalo.
Bills were the 2 seed.
Okay, so the playoffs, they just turn it on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know this. I appreciate you trying to find like it's admirable watching you try and find the path for the Steelers, but it's inevitable.
I think if we go to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship,
You're sitting here talking about the two-time back-to-back Super Bowl champions who have won 15 straight games, trying to make it sound like they're not a great football team.
I believe if we go to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, that's a close game.
Oh God, yeah, maybe.
I'm not super sold on this. Like, I think this Chiefs team is
You've gone from win to close game now. Where are we going next?
We're just talking here. We're just talking.
I'm not sold on the Chiefs. I think the last 2 years they were very good. This year, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
You know what? I think you're fair to say that because, and that's why Ziggy had them 4 in our power rankings. Like, it's fair to say you're not sold on them. They're not looking good, but you have to acknowledge whenever it matters, they perform.
Oh, but how long can that keep up with this? With this nonsense? I mean, we'll see. I'm not seeing it this year.
This poor guy's gonna get his heart crushed.
I feel better if we were comparing them to any team other than the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, there's the best 2 teams in the AFC.
No, jeez.
Who else would you compare them to?
Ravens? Buffalo Bills, aren't they?
Baltimore, Buffalo.
Yeah, I guess Buffalo. Baltimore, we're better than Baltimore. I'm telling you.
Ziggy, I'd like to go over to this might be like the Ziggy Bowl, the Jets and Cardinals, because I think those were your 2 best takes of the entire offseason heading into this year.
This Jets team, there's no chance they make the playoffs. This Cardinals team, they're a lot better than people think.
Yeah, this was kind of it's so weird with the AFC 7 seed right now, where the Jets have 7 losses and they're 2 games out. I think like everyone's still alive in the AFC to get that 7 seed.
Awful.
Oh yeah. Like, well, you know what? Before we get into the Cardinals, for the Jets, 31-6 is horrible score. But they had, I believe 3 of their first 4 drives were 10-plus play drives where they just had 2 field goals and a fumble. And they stalled out inside the 10-yard line. So the defense has been horrible. I don't know what's going on with the defense. It's just been terrible this year. And Arizona picked them apart. Like, that can't happen. But when you watch this game, it was closer than the score indicated through the first, 20 minutes or so. 40 minutes, 35 minutes. And then it, just got ugly.
I mean, it was 21-6, the first quarter and a half, was it not?
Yeah, no, I'm saying the Jets were moving the ball downfield. They were just kicking field goals. Arizona was getting touchdowns. It wasn't like it was 3 and outs and the Cardinals were getting 75-yard touchdowns immediately. Like, it was back and forth. One team was just scoring touchdowns, one was kicking field goals, and then it got out of hand. And because that trend continues, it's not going to go well for the field goal team. And yet now they find themselves here with 7 losses and. I have no faith in them anymore at this point. I don't think anyone does. But so we can turn our attention to Arizona. I want to ask you, Ziggy, they're leading the NFC West right now. They've already beaten the 49ers. I see no reason why the Cardinals, with Kyler Murray playing like this, shouldn't be considered legitimate contenders in the NFC, right?
Legitimate contenders, I don't know, because we've never seen what this team looks like when they go to the playoffs. But there's certainly contenders to win the division. And if you're winning the division, you'll be hanging out probably. They're not going to have the 1 seed. They're probably not going to have the 2 seed. It'll be them, whoever the NFC West and South winners are competing. 3 or 4 seed hosting sort of whoever's there. I mean, maybe you're hosting the Commanders. Maybe you're hosting the Vikings or the Packers or whoever. I think that's a winnable game for this team as long as Kyler Murray continues to play like this. If you look at the advanced statistics, he's playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, at least when he's on. And I think the thing about this game that you were able to see, the Cardinals, their pass defense, they finally got it together. I get that this was against Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, so maybe that doesn't mean a whole lot. But to absolutely shut down Aaron Rodgers, that's still hard to do. The Jets have had some good performances this season. And yeah, as you say, the star of this show here is Kyler Murray. Oh, yeah. He's mobile. He's making great passes. Trey McBride had a great game. It's not every single game, but when Marvin Harrison Jr. is called upon, he can play like one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Again, if you're playing him in fantasy, you're probably unhappy because he's either going for 30 points or 0. But when the Cardinals need him, he usually shows up. This team has played very good football. As you said, this wasn't a game they won by luck. And yeah, with a win over the 49ers, right? They're 6-4 at this point. We've seen 10 games. We have a decent idea of who teams are. I think at this point, they should expect to win the division.
So you make your best Cardinal sound.
I don't know what sound Cardinal make. Here's I know we don't play the schedule game, right? But here we are
No,
playing the
we
schedule.
play the
game.
schedule.
Oh, we love this schedule.
play the
game.
They're
schedule
6-4. What do they have left? Seahawks twice. Say they split that. Vikings, Patriots, Panthers, Rams, 49ers.
All right. What the hell was that? Like,
Yeah,
why,
what are
why,
you
are
doing?
you, why are you throwing,
Why are you throwing
us
the
in
Rams in
Probably
there?
4 of those.
Why are you throwing the Rams in there?
What was that? You're a Viking fan.
The
Why-
Vikings. They
No,
stink.
I'm just listening to games and thinking about how many they win. They win probably 4 of those 6.
Yeah, but it's how you say
the,
it.
the Vikings are not that good. But you
Ziggy's
throw
like,
the Rams in
Ziggy's
there.
like Vikings, Patriots, Panthers. Like,
No, that's it in chronological order. Those are the teams they're playing, the weeks they play them.
you are right though. That
Where do they play the Vikings?
Minnesota.
Yeah,
Oh,
So let's
but again,
I'll
like,
pick you in that game, probably.
at Minnesota, who knows of this team? The Patriots, Panthers at Los Angeles and hosting the 49ers. I think they win 4 of those games. If they split with the Seahawks, they're 11 wins.
Oh,
that
yeah.
should be enough to win the NFC West.
You mean, and this team has a tendency to do this, where when Kyler's doing his thing, they look like legit the best team in the NFL. And this is a few straight
Then they
weeks.
have those games where they're just horrible.
But yeah, that's the
But
thing.
they haven't looked like that in a
That's-
long time.
That's the thing. It's like they have had those moments. They're very boomer bust, but we haven't seen a game like that in quite a bit. With this current
they
level
haven't
of
lost
play,
a game since COD 6 came out either.
yes,
They've beaten that curse. They're
breaking
3-0
breaking
since
the
COD
curse.
6.
They're breaking the curse. It's hard to say right now they don't look like a contender. But if I had a gun in my head, I'd say probably not. When they played San Francisco, yes, they won. But we all know that 95% of the time, San Fran probably holds on
On
and wins
San
that.
Francisco, yeah, they should have won that game.
As long as the kicker doesn't like lose a leg.
Yeah. Detroit beat them. I know it was a 1-score game. Detroit controlled them, beat them
controlled that.
pretty good on the road. I don't know if I'm ready to put them in that top tier, but I'm a big believer in if you win the division, which I think they can, get a top 3 seed or so, I do believe at that point they can beat whomever.
So they got housed by the Commanders and Packers, but then their 4 wins in a row now are Chargers, Dolphins, Bears, Jets. I mean, the Chargers are playing good football. That was an ugly win, but they still won that football
But they can
game.
have these duds that we've seen.
Yeah, you're right, Ziggy. Man, when you look at the schedule, again, we play the
It's
schedule
the easiest
game.
schedule left in
It's
football.
easy, and the 49ers have at Green Bay later in the year. They go to Buffalo. They play the Lions. Like, I still feel like maybe that's a problem that I have where I hold on to my initial perceptions of teams a little too long. I still feel like the 49ers are the team to beat in that division. But when you play the schedule game, it makes you think, oh, maybe Arizona actually should be. Well, what's the odds right
I
now?
mean, I'll say this in Vegas.
Wow.
It's most sportsbook. The Cardinals are favorites
Look at
to
that.
win the division.
How great is that?
And that's just like,
I'm just doing the show together for you.
that's telepathy.
Yeah,
That's telepathy.
that's it right there.
The Cardinals are.
Look, I'd known this because I told you at the start of the season, the Cardinals have the worst odds to win the division, but they should be the favorites. And what do you know?
It's funny. I actually think that of the division winners right now, I'm going to put my Viking fan hat. Well, it's always on. When I had that hat on though, and I'm taking the wild card team approach. Let's assume Detroit wins the 1 seed. Detroit's the 1. Say Philly gets the 2. I would much rather go to Atlanta than go to Arizona. Is there any question there?
I'd lose a game in order to go to Atlanta rather than Arizona.
Oh, I'd way rather go to the Falcons than have to play. Like, I think Kyler Murray's playing that good.
Yeah, I'd rather go to the Falcons too.
Yeah, of all the division winners.
Just because I don't know if Atlanta is explosive and can gash you, whereas the Cards kind of one of those games for the like world beaters.
I probably would rather though play Arizona than Philly.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, look, I mean, Arizona, there may be, if I were ranking teams just in terms of how good they were, I'd say they're probably the 5th best team in the NFC, maybe the 6th. But with how things have played out to this point, I think that's probably good enough for them to win the division. That win over the 49ers, I don't think we thought a ton of it at the time. We thought, it was a little bit fluky. But that could end up being really, really important for the whole NFC playoff picture.
Oh yeah, no. When that game happened, that was before this winning streak.
We know what's going to happen. They'll be like the 3,
Yeah, we know.
and San Fran's like the 6, and San Fran goes to Arizona and kicks their ass.
No, San Fran would just wind up getting red hot and then beat them in the last game of the year and take the division.
Yeah,
There'll be a
or something-
wild card. They'll go to Philly and they'll lose by 100 points.
Yes, or something like that.
I'm rooting for the Cardinals to.
I like the Cardinals too.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Cardinals to beat out San Fran, but these teams have a way of finding ways. Speaking of the 49ers, actually, is McCaffrey's return against the Bucs out? Did you guys get to watch most of that game? That was a 1 o'clock. I mean, you were driving, right, Jack?
I didn't see any of that game.
I was able to see the whole thing. That what a fun football game. I mean, that was just good old fashioned fun football.
I saw Chris Godwin smack the long snapper in the face. They missed 3 field goals, right?
Was Godwin? I didn't see Godwin slap the long snapper.
Oh, I'm thinking of Debo. Sorry,
Debo.
The Niners missed 3 field goals, and Debo went over to the sideline and smacked the long snapper and the kicker in the face. You didn't see that?
Oh, he put his hands on his neck.
Yeah,
angrily?
Yes, angrily. He smacked one of them
was
too.
Getting ready to strangle the long snapper.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I haven't seen that. Yeah, it was. Well, they missed 3 kicks. But they hit the game winner. They hit the one that counted at the very end. And watching that game, we talked about daylight savings on this show. It's like 4 o'clock cold here.
It's singular.
Saving. Sorry. We also had that.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
And I'm watching.
I'm pretty sure it's savings.
You got it for just.
I'll bet you anything it's singular right now.
I think it's savings.
I bet you $1,000 right now.
Don't do it, Jack.
I've said savings like my whole life.
Don't do it.
$1,000 right now.
Well, I don't.
Don't do it.
I'll bet you a cent.
How about $1?
I'll bet you a cent.
$1.
Okay.
All right, Paul, bring out the phone. Google it.
Okay.
Is it daylight saving or daylight savings?
I think it's savings. I should have gone 1,000, but I don't want to. I'm a betting man.
No, it's a good thing you didn't, Jack. I know
it's daylight saving time.
Really?
You've been wrong your whole life.
Type in daylight savings and see what comes up.
No, some people call it that, but that's wrong.
I tell you, every search is daylight savings. Maybe it's just one of those things.
It doesn't make sense for the report. You're saving daylight. Daylight saving.
Want to double down on Steelers Ravens this weekend?
$2.
Yeah,
I'm taking my dollar. And
so, but Jack, just for the sake of your enjoyment, watch the game and just see how beautiful it looks down Tampa Bay right now. The whole game, I was just going like, man, it just looked like the perfect day in Tampa Bay. I actually texted our friend Weston Dale, big Bears fan. He's down Tampa. He said, Paul, it was beautiful. Just an amazing day down in Florida. And Baker Mayfield, I actually feel really bad for Bucs fans this year. I've said it before. With all the injuries they've had, and then Baker's just balling out. He's having an awesome season, and they're probably not going to go to the playoffs because of everything that's happening. But the past 2 weeks, what's Tampa Bay now? Are they 4-6? They started 4-2, and I believe they've lost 4 straight games now.
Yeah,
and are 4-6. The last 2 weeks, they lose on the road to Kansas City in overtime, and a heartbreaker to the 49ers where they had the lead in the fourth quarter. Like, I think Baker's done just a phenomenal job this season. And the play he had with Nick Bosa holding his left arm on 4th and 7, it wouldn't have mattered because there was a penalty on the 49ers anyway. But some of those plays on that last drive to tie it, he just wouldn't go down. And Brady was freaking out in the booth. He was just like, he said, this is some of the best quarterback play I've ever seen. And to have San Francisco get the ball back with under a minute left, go down the field and score, I was so disappointed to see that because I want the 49ers out. Like, I want them so far removed from the playoff scene. And it's one of those things where it's just, they're inevitably going to get in. They're inevitably going to be a pain in the ass. And McCaffrey still doesn't have his feet under him. You could see that. But when he's healthy, I mean, it's a different offense. And I really wish Tampa had pulled it out.
It was a nice cover for the Bucs. They were getting 3.5, right?
It was a nice cover.
Lost by 3.
Yeah.
That's about it.
That's about the only silver lining.
Yeah, that's about it.
That you could take out.
You covered the game.
I mean, I worry that my diagnosis of this team when they were 4-2 has just turned out to be right, which is Baker Mayfield is a competent quarterback who's good at avoiding mistakes, but relies on his receivers and the guys around him in order to create an effective offense rather than just a borderline acceptable one. And since those injuries have hit them, and let's be clear, injuries have hit them. I'm not denying that. That really has hurt this Buccaneers offense substantially to the point where 3 missed field goals from the 49ers that were so bad. You have Deebo Samuel getting ready to murder the long snapper on live television. That's what you need in order to be competitive against a good team if you're the Buccaneers at this point.
And
let's be clear, right? I don't want Baker Mayfield had a few really good plays. The one that stands out to me, that 4th and 7 conversion late in the game to keep them alive.
The one I just talked about.
That was a great play.
Yeah.
So that's
But I don't think this team's going very far. I think that ultimately they need everybody healthy and effective around
Sherlock,
Baker
they're
Mayfield.
4-6 with everyone hurt.
that's your.
No, but I mean, as long as Baker's there, I think they are going to need to surround him with elite weapons in order for them to have an effective offense. Even the easiest remaining schedule in football can't help them if that's not going to happen.
Ziggy, that's your diagnosis of the Bucs. What's your diagnosis of myself?
Explosive.
Nice.
Wait,
That's
yeah,
That's a great
But
diagnosis.
Ziggy, I think that any Bucks fan, you're definitely disappointed with how things are going this season. But I think you're actually confident that if you're able to surround Baker with some weapons, like you have a solid foundation here around Baker. No,
I mean, if Evans and Gowan are healthy.
I'm not regretting the Baker contract because of this year. I think he's been awesome. I think especially.
I'm
given
not
what they've
regretting
had.
the Baker contract. I'm saying that we were hearing the Bucks were a top 5 team and going to go on a Super Bowl run. I don't think that's ever going to happen unless all the stars align and then some.
Well, yeah. I mean, hey, if Godwin and Evans are both healthy,
I think they're
like,
probably
fully
6-4.
healthy, you may, or at least 5-5, maybe.
Yeah, or at least.
Maybe. I mean, they are the only team to beat Detroit. Like, I just feel really bad for Bucs fans because I thought they were going to have not a banner year, but a year where kind of like last season, if they got in, would it have shocked me if Tampa Bay won the South? The South is bad. Like Atlanta's 6-4. Like it is bad. We had that little false sense of them potentially being good to start the year, but now the true colors are really starting to show. If they had won the division, would it shock anyone if they beat the Packers or the Vikings or Atlanta in a playoff game? Probably not.
I mean, they're sitting there 4-6. Mike Evans, one of the better weapons in the league.
And Godwin, who's having one of the best seasons in the league.
You hold, I know they missed 3 field goals, but you hold San Fran to 20 points. Like if Mike Evans and Godwin play, you win that game.
Well, the other thing though is 49ers fans, rightfully so, should come out and be like, come on, guys, we missed 3 kicks. We also should have won the Cardinals game. Like, there's a handful of games the 49ers have played this year.
100%.
Where they, like, San Francisco could easily be.
I still do
right
believe if you have Evans and Godwin, you probably win that game at home against San Francisco.
Yeah, I think
losing by 3?
I think I would agree.
It's a shame.
But, yeah, tough year for the Bucs. But the 49ers, man, that was a must. I might say a must win. Although, don't they have? We do play the schedule game. Don't they have a pretty light schedule coming up over the next few weeks?
Bucs?
No, the 49ers.
Bucs? Oh, the 49ers.
Generally speaking. But I know they have Buffalo, Green Bay, and Detroit.
I don't know. I mean, their schedule the next few weeks is you're right. The next few weeks they host the Seahawks, they go to Green Bay, they go to Buffalo.
Oh, wait, those are the next 3?
Yeah, those are their next 3 games.
Oh, I take that back. So this was a must win.
Yeah, that's
then
pretty brutal.
then they get a light up, right? They face Caleb Williams and the Bears.
They
face the Rams and they go to Miami. And then they close off the season by hosting Detroit and going to Arizona.
I mean, dude, the Rams and
Detroit's
Miami.
tough. Buffalo, Miami, yeah.
That's all, yeah.
I mean, saying that's a break, it's a break only compared to facing the Lions, Bills, Packers, Cardinals, and Seahawks.
Yeah, no, that's so this was a must win in this situation. And
that's why the Cardinals are favored to win the division.
Are you with me on Caleb Williams officially sucking?
I mean, I sent you an apology text, Jack. I don't know what more you want. Do I think Caleb Williams sucks? No. Do I think the Bears' offense is irredeemable this year? Yes.
You did send me an apology text.
19-3 to the Patriots is pretty damn.
It doesn't surprise me. I'm not surprised.
I know you're not surprised, but
I think he's so bad, Paul. So bad.
I mean, can we at least admit that problems go beyond Caleb Williams when you see how this offense is being called,
No.
how the offensive line's playing, how the coaching is?
No.
Eberflus will be gone immediately at the end of the season.
I think
if he survives the end of the year, he'll be gone on.
I think if these team like Jayden Daniels are much better.
I think Jayden Daniels
at this
is playing
point, obviously you take Jayden Daniels over Caleb Williams. My point is just the sky is falling in Chicago.
It's because you're quarterback.
Whether Caleb Williams has played a role, there's no doubt about it. It is not only his fault.
It's like 90% his fault.
It's Danny Parkins, I believe. Yeah, Danny Parkins is the big Bears fan. He's on FS1 now. I saw him say something earlier today where he was like, just go back and look at the history of the Bears, recent history of the Bears. It's like Trubisky, fired a coach at the end. Like 2 coaches very quickly, 2 schemes, 2 different regimes. Justin Fields, same thing, 2 different regimes. Who's the other one I'm forgetting? Who's the other quarterback? Mitch
Trubisky.
Fields.
Oh, Fields.
Who's the other one? Chicago. Thought there was one more. Whatever it was. I can't remember.
Really?
Right now. Thought so. Well, anyway, Caleb
forget.
Williams is probably going to go through the same thing. Like the teams like the Steelers, they've had their consistency. You know, they're winning all the time, and it's because of the way it's run from the top down. The Bears making the same mistakes. The Jets make the same mistakes. Like they can never figure it out. And I don't know how far it's going to set them back this year when they get rid of Eberflus. You got to find the right guy. Yeah, and that.
Yeah,
see,
I mean,
this
it's
is
easy to say
it's
sit
all
back
about-
and let it go. The Steelers found their guy.
Oh yeah. No. You like the Vikings. I think O'Connell is one of those guys who, as long as he's there, you know, if the Vikings have a competent quarterback, they will be competing.
It's all about drafting.
It's all about finding a good coach and then getting the quarterback.
I could be GM of the NFL because
I don't know.
I could have told you that Bryce Young stinks, Caleb stinks.
Bryce might be back.
I could have told you that.
Bryce might be back.
But you don't know how bad Bryce is we're giving him flowers for beating the Giants by 3. So that we already know how bad he is. But I think he's better than Caleb. But that's I could be a GM. I swear I could. It's just about knowing who's going to be good.
It's tough for Bears fans. Even as a Viking fan, and maybe NFC North people will be upset with me for saying this, I was kind of happy for them when they were looking good to start this year. And I was a little excited to have them be a threat. Where, I don't know, it's just they're one of those teams where when they're good, I think football is a little more exciting. And at least for my world of football, as long as it's weird. It's one of those things where, like, as long as they're not too good, you know, but they're on the radar, then it makes those games fun. So we'll probably still lose to them in Chicago, but it's pretty gloom and doom in Chicago at the moment, unfortunately for Bears fans. So
Can you imagine if they'd hired Matt or if they'd hired Kevin O'Connell during that cycle instead of Matt Eberflus?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different scenarios. You know, the Vikings might have had Jim Harbaugh in that situation. Like
The current state of the Bears. This Saturday night goes on the road to Oregon. Who wins?
I think Dylan Gabriel has a big night.
Yeah,
the Bears.
me too.
The Bears claw it out. No.
Like 24-20 Bears.
That's the right response from Ziggy right here.
What's the spread, you think, Ziggy? Like Bears minus 3.5? Let's say it's like
I'm not even dignifying.
Let's say it's like an 8 o'clock national TV game.
I'm not even dignifying this. What?
You think the Bears would kill him?
Caleb Williams has killed the Oregon Ducks before.
Caleb lost
with a
Oregon.
much worse team.
He lost to Oregon last year.
Not with the. I mean, I guess the offensive line was pretty bad at USC, but this is.
He lost at Oregon last year.
Could you imagine what the score of the Bears Oregon would be? Holy crap!
I'm saying 28-24.
I mean, he lost to Oregon last year after putting up 300 yards and couple of touchdowns.
See, the problem is there are going to be people who see this and are like, oh, this show is seriously.
Oh, no, by the way, I'm kidding.
Yeah, there's going to be people who are like, this show seriously.
I don't know if you're kidding. Jack. I don't know if you're kidding. You're saying you're kidding. I don't know.
I'm kidding. For the most part.
He's not kidding. Look at his eyes. He's not kidding.
I got my Oregon Ducks green on today.
All right, we'll wrap it up here on the Week 10 reaction show. So
we need to get a producer. This reaction show is out of control.
Oh, we're all over the place. Yeah, we're all over the place. But this is the time of year when people start to lock in a little bit on all forms of football, NFL and college. So we'll try and have as many reactions coming out as we can. We'll stick to our normal schedule, as Ziggy promised in the community page post that he threw up yesterday. And
we're all okay.
Yeah, we're all okay. And this weekend, Packers Bears will be fun. Like NFC North rivalry. We have Week 11.
Steelers Ravens
right here. Steelers Ravens. Like there's some fun games. What else on the slate here? Seahawks Niners is a big game.
I'll be in attendance in Acrisure Stadium as well.
Chiefs Bills, Bengals Chargers. I mean, there's some good football. Vikings Titans. Come on. Does it beat that? Actually, good Thursday night game too. Commanders Eagles. Jeez, this is a great slate. It's nice. We've kind of had some weak slates the past few weeks. It's nice to finally have some good football games again. All right, we'll be back with the Week 11 preview show. We appreciate everyone. See you soon.